There are masses of resources available to you on YouTube alone. Are you making the most of them? Probably not. Watching this video will give you some insight into what can be gained from any one particular resource, but this video is specifically designed to accompany the A minor backing track that I recently uploaded on YouTube. That particular backing track chord sequence looks like this, and it sounds like this, although we will find that it can sound lots of different ways. So at first sight, the backing track isn't particularly inspiring. It's not brilliantly produced, it doesn't sound amazing, and to be honest, my dog is the only obvious entertainment in it. And he's asleep. But what really is in front of you? What's going on? And why should you pay attention to anything other than what the dog is doing or not doing? Stick around to find out. So first of all, let's take a look at the actual chord sequence I'm using in that backing track. The most important thing to note is that the chord sequence itself uses all the basic diatonic chords in the key of A minor. What does that mean? Well, the word diatonic means pertaining to a key. That means that all the chords in this chord sequence are in the key of A minor. None of them contain any notes that are outside that key. You can see what notes are in the key of A minor by playing the A natural minor scale, which is included in the backing track video. It happens to be the same notes as the key of C major. There's no sharps or flats in A minor or C major. Essentially, that chord sequence that you get up on your screen contains the pool of chords that you need to be able to write your own chord sequences in the key of A minor or C major. You just mix them up. If you're writing in the key of A minor, you're going to have A minor as the main chord. It's probably going to start the sequence, it's probably going to end the sequence. Not necessarily, but that's probably the case. If you want a chord sequence in the key of C major, use those chords, but start and end with C major. So the chord sequence as I played it in the video sounds a little bit like this. I'm playing it with a classical finger style. This is an awkward chord coming up. That awkward chord, by the way, doesn't have to be awkward. I actually used this fingering in the video just because I wanted the bass note to sustain. If I didn't want the bass note to sustain, I might have played it like this, playing this much easier pattern and then moving the finger. But that meant this note wouldn't sustain, so I had to lay that finger across, just explaining why I used a particularly awkward pattern for that. The chord itself, B minor 7 flat 5, is the only diminished chord in A key, in any key, major or minor key, not always B of course. In the key of C major I might be playing these chords. That is the minor 7 flat 5. It's a great chord, and I can show you other ways of playing it. In this video maybe I'll pop some up. One thing I recommend is to practice along with the chord sequence with the same picking style as I'm using in that video. It doesn't matter what normal style of guitar you play, it's going to be useful to you. One, directly, because at some stage you're going to be wanting to do some finger picking. You can't do everything with a plectrum. And two, it helps you in the process of distancing yourself from the mechanics of playing. I can explain that better in a whole video that's dedicated to it, and it's to do with my research on the performance mind. But essentially what you're after, if you want to play along with the chords, with the finger picking, is you're playing this pattern. You're playing it 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a... And you want the minimum effort with this hand. This has got to be light, it's got to be flowing. So that's one thing I recommend you practicing. It's worthwhile. I'll go into more detail in another video. If you don't fancy trying the classical style finger picking that I was using, the chord sequence is great for strumming. So if you're using a plectrum, you could do something like this. There I was picking the bass note followed by a slow strum up, an upstroke, and then up, down, up to finish. So I'm doing bass note, slow strum, upstroke, up, down, up. That's going to sound great. And of course, you can do it much simpler. If you can play all the chords open. It's just got a slightly awkward F involved. I'm recommending that you play the F in the classic way that you're taught to play it open, although it's not an open chord. But also, if you can bring your thumb around to play the bass note, that's going to make the F sound a little bit better, and the thumb can naturally mute out that fifth string. And the only other the chord that you probably won't know is the B minor 7 flat 5, which I've already covered earlier on. You can play like that, just mute out the outer strings. So you can play it all open. You can play it much simpler than that if you just want to hold the chord. It's still going to sound good. So you can play this chord sequence more or less at any standard. And of course, if you just want to rock out, just play power chords. Sound something like this. So I hope you're starting to get the idea that the backing tracks that I put up on YouTube are not necessarily just for soloing over. There's so much more that you can get from them, and it's true of many traditional videos that you may look at. You can think of them as platforms. What can you get out of it? And it's not always the obvious. That's why I put supplemental videos up to give you an idea of what you can use this new tool that you've got, this new video that you may have that you can use. It's a bit like a piece of gym equipment. It's great, but you need to learn the exercises that you can do on it, and then you can improve. So that rock backing that I just put up, for instance, you could do so much more with that. You can split the individual chords into intervals and create some great rock backings. It's kind of for another video, so hopefully I'll get to do that. That might be up. And also the finger picking, there's so much more you can do with that. You could play along with a video with a different finger style, perhaps alternating thumb style, this kind of... This is what the chord sequence would sound like if you were playing that. They sound great. I can do another, well, I definitely will do, if I haven't already, do a video on alternating thumb, because I like to do that as an acoustic style. There's so much more you can do. But as was hinted in that last rock example that I gave, let's talk about soloing. So the simplest scale that I mentioned in the backing track video is the A natural minor scale, the open version. It's a great scale for beginners to start practicing producing melody, improvising melody. And it goes like this. You play the 5th string open, followed by the 5th string at the 2nd fret, 5th string at the 3rd fret, 4th string open, 4th string at the 2nd fret, 4th string at the 3rd fret, 3rd string open, 3rd string at the 2nd fret. So it's open, 2nd fret, 3rd fret, open, 2nd fret, 3rd fret, open, 2nd fret. Try and use the same finger as it is fret when you're down this end of the neck. So a 2nd finger, 3rd finger, open, 2nd finger, 3rd finger, open, 2nd finger. You can play that scale, you can practice it along with the backing track just as a scale, at whatever speed more or less you want, just staying in time with the backing. If I put the backing track on, makes the scale more musical. Your next step is to start mixing things up. Etc. It's a great way to start soloing. More advanced players, let's move on to that. Advanced players, you shouldn't really need me to tell you too much if you're advanced. Let's just say this is for the intermediate players. Okay, so I just showed you the A natural minor scale open over 1 octave, 0, 2, 3, 0, 2, 3, 0, 2. Over 2 octaves, come to the 5th fret. I'm going to put this in close up so you can just watch my fingers. But essentially I'm going 1, 3, 4, 1, 3, 4, 1, 3. The hand has to move back a fret at this point. You go 1, 2, 4. Then it moves back up to the 5th fret. 1, 2, 4, 1. And then you come down. You can use a slightly different fingering. I'll let you sleuths look at the close-up version to see exactly what I'm doing. Advanced players, well, you just have to come up with some cool licks. I'll do separate videos on cool licks. How about that? Leave a comment in the comments below. Let me know what you'd like to see. The A natural minor scale, 2 octaves, is actually a great scale. It contains the pentatonic minor scale. Definitely something for everybody to get to grips with. I'll put that in close up as well. The pentatonic scale, when you're using it as a pentatonic scale, so you've got less notes, there are bigger gaps, it's more abstract, it's more forgiving. You can add that blues note. Yes, I think look at the example solos that I'm going to be putting up as if you want to learn more about soloing with that. Just quickly, let's try this. Okay, so I'm gonna wrap up this video now, because I have to earn some money and take my dog for a walk, etc. Life stuff. It's a shame because there's so much more I could expand on in relation to the backing track that we've talked about and beyond. I've already this week uploaded a specific arpeggio exercise that was written for this backing track, so that contains the 3 arpeggios that you need to be able to play in any key, and the exercise itself is great for technique. Look that up, there'll be a link at the end or in the description. It's well worth a look. Normally when I produce one of these backing tracks, I will try and produce supplemental material that works alongside it so that you can get the best out of the resource, which is essentially what this video is all about. If you've made it this far to the end of the video, then as far as I'm concerned you're already an elite. There's probably 9 or 10 of you, and you're either very dedicated to learning, and hopefully you will have got something from this video, or you just scrolled through the middle bit, in which case it's a shame because you missed a lot of useful material, and you missed the bit where the parrot was juggling with coconuts, which was really interesting. It's in there somewhere. You can go back to the beginning and you'll find it. Yeah, I look forward to seeing you in future videos. I want to produce a lot of stuff. I've not got many subscribers, so when I produce a video like this, it's quite a lot of work, and then it gets buried in the YouTube algorithm after a day or two, never to be found again. So it's quite difficult for me to produce all the really useful material that I have gathered in both my research and my 40 years of teaching. There's some videos I really want to get out there, but it does require subscribers. So if you can just subscribe, hit notifications, you will eventually get notified of those great videos, and they're going to be worthwhile, so please do that. Thank you for watching, and yeah, I'll see you soon.